Hi everyone, I'm Josh,
Hi, I'm Kelly.
and this is our van tour.
We're so excited to show you the tour of the van. We've worked on it for over a year, so we want to show you everything that we did and what's worked well for us.
Okay, so we're going to start with some basics. This is a 2020 Ford Transit 350 Extended. It's pretty standard from the factory. We got it with a few things that we wanted. One of the things we got was a limited slip differential rear, so that we actually have two drive wheels instead of just the typical one. But we've changed the tires on it, and we have upgraded the suspension to handle some extra weight, so it sits at the original kind of factory height. But other than that, the only real thing you see from the outside that is different from a standard van would be the roof rack, and that houses our solar and has our WeBoost antenna, as well as hides a little bit of the MaxxAir fans that we have. So here's a quick look at the suspension upgrade that we did. We added an extra leaf spring, which has basically doubled our payload capacity and allows the van to sit at its kind of original factory ride height. So the only other thing external on the van that we did was we have a gray water tank mounted up underneath, which you can see the outlet for here, as well as the electric ball valve, which allows us to empty it from the inside. But it sits flush underneath, and unless you're under the van, it's completely invisible from the outside. So here's a look at our roof rack, which is a Flatline Van Company roof rack. We've got our solar panels mounted here, 400 watts of solar, as well as our WeBoost and our two MaxxAir fans.
So I'm going to go ahead and show you a tour of the inside, and then Josh will show you the outside. So this is the galley area. This countertop, we bought the butcher block and oiled it ourselves, cut it out. It was important to me to have a large sink. It's great for washing dishes, and if I need to do my hair in here, I can. And this is also where we brush our teeth. And so this faucet is really nice because it has a spray and it moves around. So that's great for when I have to wash my hair. The cabinets, this side has stuff in it for the galley, things that we're going to use to eat. But this side is mainly toiletries. My toothbrush is here, my makeup, my blow dryer, medicines, everything I need to access. I tried it at first having it over there, but then I had to keep bringing it back and forth, and it just made better sense to keep it here. And Josh made me this nice little mirror, and I pull it down and I get to see myself. The first few trips I didn't look at myself the entire week, so this is helpful. Above me I have an Air Max fan. We have two in here. One pulls out air and one brings air in, which is really nice, and you can switch them out depending on the weather and the time of year that it is. So it's nice. It always circulates fresh air, and it's great having one, especially when I'm cooking in here, to pull out the smells. So this bench we created, we got the cushions custom made from a company that primarily does marine type things, for cushions for them, but it's worked out really well. And we did the flooring. It took a lot of layers, but it's linoleum, and it's good because it helps keep some water out. This cabinet here is where I keep the pots and pans. We don't have any propane on board. We have an induction stove. So pretty much everything I make is one dish or one pan at a time. But it works out. It's not like you can prepare everything and eat everything at once. If I'm making grilled cheese and soup, we eat the soup and then we eat the sandwich, or vice versa first. And then some of my other cups are in here, and that's very handy. We have a lagoon table here. We made the tabletop and stained it ourselves, but this is the mount for it, and you'll see that later. There'll be a picture of that. So it kind of sits here and rotates, and we can work here, eat there. It's also an extra countertop for me if I'm cooking. Up here, you might remember from the first build, not the first build, but the first video, I talked about needing a spice rack and something to hold towels up. So Josh created this, built this for me, which is so handy. We keep our tissues there for easy access and spices and other things that we need. And then these racks are great, especially for our towels, you know, in the winter, our coats, when things are wet, it's really convenient. Josh is going to go over all the electronics and share that with you shortly. This first cabinet is more kitchen stuff. I tried to keep the things closest to the kitchen. So we have teapot, and I have my pour over coffee, some plates, and then this side is towels. This cabinet back is Josh's, and then I have my cabinets back here. I primarily use the cubes to keep my clothes in. The trip that we're on right now is a pretty short trip, so I just laid my stuff in there. But it is a decent amount of space in here. And then I have chargers, which I keep in here at all times, so I don't have to worry about them. These nice little lamps are great for reading. In the back of them, they have a USB plug-in for that, so I can plug in my phone or my AirPods, and then the light actually has 3 different settings, so sometimes at night it's just a light for inside the cabin. This bed is amazing. One thing I didn't want to skimp on was a thick mattress, so this is a 10-inch memory foam mattress. It does take some work to make the bed, tucking it in, and then usually I stand in the back and pull everything up. We did have some nice shams, but they disintegrated the first time I washed them, so we're going to get something to cover these pillows up, because sometimes debris will fall in here, and you know, we just don't want that on our pillows. This is a shelf that Josh created for me as well to fill in this space. It was custom made, and it's great. It holds my books, my Bible, some other toiletries, exercise stuff, whatever I need. It's, you know, more things that I'm going to grab and need at a convenient reach. We have outlets back here, the 110s, which are nice. They're, you know, outer cabins, and then we have the 2 which I didn't show you in the kitchen, but Josh will go through that. So we made a decision to have a portable shower, one that we could set up and take down. When the shower is in use, I have a bin here that holds all of our shoes. It's kind of like a catch-all, but we have the option for an inside shower. So here, this lifts up, and the shower curtain is here. So you would, you know, just bring that down. These side levers come down, and then it falls out. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but it falls, and then you can climb inside there. And this is primarily for, you know, winter showering inside, because for the most part we shower outside. We have an outdoor shower, which we'll show you later. So that is convenient. It doesn't close all the way, but that's okay. It stays. There you go. I love these little knobs. You have to be so careful when you're constant movement, and these really keep the cabinets closed. The first few times we went on our trips, I would leave cabinets open, and 2 minutes down the road, things are flying everywhere. It's not the best idea. So that is pretty much the inside. The other thing is these fans. We each have one in the back, and they face, we usually use one to face each other. So, but they have 3 speeds as well, and they help circulate the air. And yeah, it's great. We have no problems with the ventilation in here whatsoever. We have this backsplash, which is really nice, which I like. And then we have the 2 outlets and also another USB cord if we need to charge our phones. If there's something else that we need to plug in here, it's great. This paper towel rack is ratcheted, so it doesn't, even when you're moving, the paper towels don't fall down, which is nice because it doesn't unravel. We put this pole up here. We have these curtains. These are blackout curtains. We had them Velcroed at first, but then Josh got the good idea to put these snaps on, because the Velcro and things would get hot and they get they weren't sticking and they were moving a lot. So he created all these studs in here, and they go right into the existing holes. And then we just take this off, and then we pull it across, and it gives us privacy. And then these on this side, they'll plug in over here. He put the snaps on the wall. There's one up here, and then one down here. And so that's nice. And then when you're done, we just leave these snapped all the time, so it's just quick to unsnaps when you're finished, and then you just roll it back in the morning. We have custom blackout blinds, window shades that we can put in, which is nice. It keeps everything open, but we have one big one for the front windscreen and then two side ones for the doors, and they have either black or the shiny, which is reflective material, so you put it out whatever direction depending on the weather and kind of privacy that you're looking for. And then I just snap these back up and move this down. And then it just tucks right in and stays out of the way. It's very convenient. We opted not to do a shelf here because when you do have a shelf, you have to constantly duck. And Josh is tall, and just for head banging reasons, we just don't do it. But we have a little bit of shelf space up here, and just some miscellaneous things like eyeglasses and things like that, and hats for easy access. We felt like we had enough storage as it was. This is a drawer, like my catch-all for my kitchen utensils. It has our shake mixer for our shakes in the morning, utensils. I just keep a couple of everything. I don't need a lot because it's just us, and then I just, wash things as needed. This is an isotherm refrigerator. Josh was in the marine industry, and it's a marine grade refrigerator. It is stainless steel, which shows everything, every stain. It's clean right now, but it only stays clean for a minute. And then it has a lot of space. We have the all the food that we need. No freezer on board, but that's okay because we tend to eat fresh anyway. So, and it keeps everything so cold, like the drinks are so cold in here. Under this cabinet, we have our trash can, which slides out easily. And in the back, we have some cleaners, dog shampoo, and then some dish soap, which is going up into the sink. We didn't want a container that we had to like refill and that could move around, so we opted to put the hole in and have the pump there, which is very convenient when you're washing dishes. This was an unusual shape and size, and it had to fit around this pole here. So Josh built this for me as well, and it has like a little cutout. It's removable if we needed to. Some of the dog food containers back there, other cleaning supplies. This is my pee bottle. So that's what we use. And I have a Go Girl, which, yes ladies, it's very convenient. It works well. You can do it standing up, kneeling, no mess, no fuss, so quick and easy. So that was always a big question I had for people. What are they doing with their number ones and their number twos? So I think that's it for the galley. Josh is going to show you outside, and then if there's something else I forgot, I'll come back and let you know. Thanks. Since I was talking about number one and number two, this is the number 2 pot, but we only use it in an emergency. So you put your bag in, and then when you're done, you put whatever composting material that you need or want to use. We have some on board, and then it just twists, and it's collapsible, and it just fits in the back of the van. It's just like when you're going on a road trip. You stop places, there's things nearby. So we've only used this when we've been in really remote areas, like in national forests and things like that, where there's no other options.
All right, now we're going to look at some of the systems and the garage area of the van. So underneath the bed, this is the back of the bed here. So underneath the bed is what we call the garage area, which is a big storage area. And what I mean by storage, like all of this is storage also for the systems. And I'm going to go through all that with you. But just to let you know how much actually fits in there, all of this over here, that's what we normally keep in this storage area. So it actually stores a lot. We've got tools and parts and spare bits for everything, camping gear, all kinds of stuff, laundry gear. We have our jerry can that we keep in here. It's a lifesaver jerry can for water purification. All that fits in here. So it's a fairly large storage area, but it also houses all of our main systems. So over here, immediately on the right, we have our WeBoost, and the WeBoost boosts our signal from cell phones and rebroadcasts it in the van, gives much stronger signal. Next to that is the charge controller for the solar, which we have the 400 amp hours up on the roof, and then next to that is our Victron. This is both an inverter and a charger. So when we're hooked up to shore power, it charges, but it is our main inverter's 3000 watt inverter, which is, plenty for all we need and then some. And then back here in this corner above the right wheel well is all of our batteries. So the batteries supply all the power that we need for everything from all of our systems and cooking and all of that. And we have 600 amp hours, so 6 100 amp hour batteries there. They're wired in parallel, so they're still 12 volt system. Next to that is our big water tank. It's 50 gallons. It's centered between the wheel wells, so we get always have a balanced load regardless of how much water we have. Then we have some other parts and spares back there, and then we have our water pump leading over here eventually to our hot water heater. And the hot water heater is, again, electric. It's 8 gallons and provides plenty for all we need. We can both shower from that and use it throughout the day for the 8 gallons. We have a little bit of storage here as well for the ladder we use to get up on the roof if necessary, as well as our chairs, our lounge chairs that we have are stored there, strapped up underneath the bed. And out here on the outside, we have not only power, we have our lights for underneath, we have our shore power, we have a fire extinguisher, and then on this side we have our outdoor shower, which is what we mainly use to shower, both hot and cold water, obviously. We just take this off here, hose ourselves down. Works brilliant. Works brilliant. It actually has better, believe it or not, it actually has much better pressure than our shower at home. So we love it. We love showering with it. Our rear doors are also insulated. We took this off, we've added this obviously, but behind all of this and behind here is a lot of insulation. And we put a lot of insulation throughout the van, but especially on the rear doors and in this area because we're sleeping right next to it and we didn't want cold air coming in towards our head. All right, so you can also see the back of the cabinets here and our lights, which have our USB chargers on them as well as our fans. These fans will swivel and point every which direction. They're great for that. They're known for that. And the extra benefit we get from these fans is in winter, there's a small gap here. So between the end of the bed and where the doors come in, there's a small gap here of somewhere between, like, say, 5, maybe 6 inches at most. But that allows us in winter to put the fans facing down here, and it will blow hot air from our heater here in the van. It'll blow it down into this area because we have to keep both the water and the batteries above freezing temperatures because we don't winterize. So we don't take any of the water out of the systems in winter. What we do is make sure we heat everything so it doesn't freeze in here. And the batteries as well, they can discharge below freezing, but you can't charge them below freezing temperature. So we have to keep them heated above that. And these fans allow us to blow heat down to this garage area, heats it beautifully, and we don't have any concerns. Let's go look at some other systems on the inside. So we've tried to do things like put all of our lights in convenient spaces. So our entry light here, which does the main overhead lights for this area, are right here. So as soon as we open the door, we can just immediately turn them on, so we don't have to go searching for anything in the dark. But it's always right there, immediate, easy access. Okay, in the galley, we do have two different 110 outlets there. And the reason we did that is because they're on two different breakers so that we can run two appliances that require 15 amps each without having to worry about it. Our inverter can handle that, and we've done the power so we can do that as well. So we can have two induction stoves there working if we want. We can have the blender and the induction stove going, no trouble at all. Over here on this wall is kind of the main hub for all of our systems. And what we've got is our light switch for the back right there. So all of our little switches that are lighted are actually for our lights. So they're on even at night, you can find them easily. This is our inverter switch. This is a USB 3.0 for charging things. This is our kind of our main intelligence section here. This is our battery monitor, tells us our state of charge and all those kind of things, which is very helpful for us to know where we're at. We have another power point here. This is the controller for our heater. We have a Webasto heater. It's an Airtop STC 2000. It is gasoline, and we actually have it plumbed directly into our fuel tank. As I mentioned earlier, we have an extended range fuel tank on here, which works wonders, and the heater's plugged right into that. So we don't have to worry about any other fuel at any other time. We don't have anything else on board in terms of propane or other fuel sources, and that makes it really easy and simple. So this is for the heater. This is the breaker board for our panel for all of our AC power. So all of our 110 outlets as well as our water heater are located here. And this is pretty important for us because temperature is important to know, especially in the garage for our water systems and for our batteries. And we have 4 different thermometer points throughout the van. So we have one on top, we have got one underneath, we have one actually in the garage area, and we have one inside here so we know what the temperature is. So at the moment, outside, the top one is saying that it's 87 degrees outside. Inside here where I'm sitting right now, it's 78. The garage is 80 degrees, and underneath the van is 88. Underneath the van is always a little bit inaccurate after we've been driving, because we just got done driving, because it's close to the muffler system. Obviously muffler gets hot, and that muffler then heats up that point, so it becomes inaccurate. Where it's most accurate is usually in the mornings. That's where we've been sitting all night long. Everything's cool. It gives us a more accurate idea of the temperature outside, usually than the one above, because then we don't have to worry about frost affecting it or those kinds of things. So anyways, those 4 different points for temperature help us to really monitor things in the van, so we know not only what's outside, but also the inside and how well we're looking after those important points, especially the temperature in the garage. But this is where all of our systems come in, and what I'm going to do next is show you the other end of this. So this is the heater control. I'm going to show you the heater. The heater actually lives, okay, so our heater actually lives here under the front seat. So this is it. It's about the size of a loaf of bread, and this is the main heater output here at the feet, and then it actually goes throughout the van. And we use the MaxxAir fans to help us circulate that heat, especially in winter. We'll actually put the back fan on exhaust, and it will pull the heat from here, even from this floor area. It'll pull it all up and through the van so that we have heat and a constant temperature throughout the van, even though the only real heat point is coming out down here. But that was a really important part of the van. It allows us to operate in 4 seasons. It can be minus 20 outside, and it'll be 60 degrees inside. It's amazing. It really heats the place very nicely, and the fact that it's plumbed directly into the fuel tank means as long as we have fuel to run the vehicle, we have fuel for heating, so we don't have to worry about it, which is really nice too. And it's very efficient. I think it uses like approximately a gallon in 24 hours if it's on high for that period of time, which is really quite efficient in terms of a heater and the fuel that it uses. So we really like it. It was probably the most difficult part of the whole van to install when we're doing the actual build. Probably one of the most important investments we made actually in the van, along with the robustness of our electrical system. The actual heater was ideal for us, and especially in this location. It works out quite well. It's away from everything and is fully functional. Okay, so We actually bought the van new, and so because of that, we were able to get a few things in it that we really wanted to. One of those things was swiveling front seats. The driver's side does swivel. It's not terribly practical because it only will turn around halfway because we have the cabinet there, but this one turns around fully, and through that it actually opens up the whole seating area and allows us to not only have people on the van here with us sitting comfortably, but it gives us a whole second seating area. So if Kelly's working over there on the bench, I can sit here and work as well. We can have people in here in bad weather. We can, fit 4 people in here to sit and get out of the weather and play games or do whatever we need to do quite comfortably. But these are very comfortable and a good kind of investment that we made to kind of open the van up and make it more habitable. Okay, final thing I wanted to kind of show you here in the van is underneath this seat is kind of our electrical cupboard. And this is where, well, the batteries are back here behind this cushion in the garage area. The actual wiring, all the battery to battery charger, all the bus bars, the main electrical switches, the 12-volt panels, everything is in our electrical box, which is underneath this seat. So it's here. It's really easy to get to if we need to, and at the moment it kind of looks like a bowl of spaghetti. It was all neat and tidy to begin with, but we had some work done by somebody else. We had some trouble with the heater. My fault as part of the install, but they had to do a lot of things to redo that. And one of the things they did was they had to pull the heater wiring, which went all the way up here to this, from out behind the wall here down through the electrical panel. And because of that, when they redid it, let's just say they didn't redo it with the same fastidiousness for the cosmetics of it that I did, and so it's a little bit bowl of spaghetti now. But I'll show you that in a second. But that all lives underneath here, and that is something that we rarely, if ever, have to get to, but it is easy to get to it if we do need to. Just a couple of final points on the van build that we didn't talk about at the beginning, and that was when we built it, we wanted to make sure that it was robust to handle 4 seasons and go anywhere, basically in the world that we wanted it to go. So we built it with that in mind. It's highly insulated. Behind all the walls is 2, sometimes 3 layers of insulation, just depending on what types of insulation we use. But we used Thinsulate, we used Reflectix, and we used rigid foam insulation as well, especially on the floor. We got over 2 inches of insulation in the floor alone. So we did all that to insulate it. We have kill mat on all the walls and the floor and the wheel wells to help with noise. We did a lot of insulation before we started building out and building things as you see them here. The other thing that we really wanted to make as robust as possible was the electrical. I've talked a little bit about that already, but we have 600 amp hours of lithium. We've got a 3,000 watt inverter, so we can supply and have any power that we need. But even down to the wiring, I went through a lot of the wiring, and we dropped a gauge on everything just to make sure that we're not going to have excess heat build up in any way. And we ran all the wiring as well through conduit everywhere, so that it's going to help stop any abrasions and future shorts and all that. And then all the ends were done with we crimped O-rings on the end and then heat shrunk everything, so everything is as robust as we can make it, to handle not only the fact that this house is basically in an earthquake every day, but also so that long term we don't have any issues and have to go back and then rebuild any part of our electrical system. It's just something we didn't want to have to do at later points. We made sure it was robust enough to begin with to handle everything. And the plumbing is the same way. The plumbing, we went and tried to make it as robust as possible and made sure all of the elbow joints and stuff were brass and not plastic and things like that, just to help with the robustness and longevity of it. But anyway, that is what I guess our mindset that we put into building this. And one of the resources that we used that a lot of people ask us about, well, how did you know to build all this? Well, we obviously did a lot of research, but one of the main resources we used was there's a couple who have a website called the Far Out Ride, and they're a couple of engineers, and they built a van very similar to this, and they have a very extensive website with a lot of detail on everything to do and why to do it, as well as how to do it. And so that really helped us a lot when we built out. So if you're looking for what we did or how we did it, check out their website. You got a lot of good information there.
Everyone's van build is so different. They customize it to suit the needs. It was important for us to have a bed that was fixed. We didn't want to have to worry about doing that every day. And we initially had another dog as well, so it's just easy for the dogs to jump up, and partly why we built the bench here, which is very convenient because we're sitting here now. You can see out and get the air coming in. But we didn't have any fancy tools, and we didn't have a garage. We did the van build, which was over 4 seasons outside under no cover. So we did it in the heat, in the cold. We did it at parks, on the side of roads. And we had 3 tools. We had a drill, a saw, what was the name?
We had a jigsaw and a circular
and
saw.
A circular saw. 3 things. That was it. There were some days we went to Lowe's or Home Depot, like I think the most was 6 times in one day, going back and forth and carrying the wood. And then at the time we had to load all the equipment out, take it out, bring it out with the horseshoes. So it was quite interesting, but we got it done. So it's DIY, so it's not perfect, but there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. No, I guess no tears, just blood and sweat that went into the van build. Especially when we would reach our hands in for all the wiring. We cut ourselves multiple times. But yeah, it's so satisfying now to look back and have it behind us. Josh did all the legwork and all the mastermind behind it all. I just was kind of the assistant. But it's been a great experience.
Very handy assistant. There was a lot of things I just needed more hands, couldn't do it on my own. So I had to have help from Kelly. So she was very helpful and very great at that. So we hope you enjoyed this little tour of our van. We've put a lot of love into it, and hope that you can see that in what we've done. But if you've liked it, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video. If you've got comments or questions, please leave them below. Also down below, I'll put a link to our Patreon page if you'd like to support our ongoing efforts here on the channel to make these videos. Then please consider going to Patreon and joining us as a member there. And otherwise, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you out on the road.
See you out there.